If you've had some tough times in 2012, you may be trying to get your finances in order in 2013. And that's the topic of today's Money Monday segment. Here with some important financial resolutions for 2013. We have Rob Wilson with Blazer Capital Management. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Yeah, so do a lot of people make New Year's resolutions about their finances?
They do, and it seems to be getting more in vogue to make financial resolutions a part of your plan for 2013. So you're seeing a lot of more people do that. I think the economy has a bunch of things to do that, but I think it's good that people want to put this in focus and actually make some change in the new year.
All right, so you've got advice on how to actually make a New Year's resolution related to your money.
Yeah, I think resolutions are great, but what I suggest to some individuals is that you really have to get your priorities straight. And I mean really figure out what's important to you. Not, what's kind of important or what might be nice if happened, what really is important to you. So for example, I know I have a lot of people that I know who didn't decide to get healthy until the doctor told them that they probably weren't going to live very long if they didn't do that. And so setting your priorities has a funny way of helping you focus on what's really important and eliminating distractions like, oh, it's too hard or it takes too much time. If you can really get your priorities straight and figure out what's important to you, it'll be a lot easier for you to make change. Change really comes from priority and goal setting, I think, than just making resolutions.
And then I think some people make these huge goals. Is that good or is that bad?
Well, I think you do want to make goals that are going to make a significant change in your life, but you also have to know, that Rome wasn't built in a day. Okay, and then you have to take some steps towards that. So I think you also have to get real about your situation. So here's a little experiment that I do with new clients that I may be taking on. They'll come in and they'll talk to me about what their priorities are, and then I ask them to look at their bank statement. Now you can tell a lot about someone by looking at their bank statement. And so you've got to take a look at the things that you say or that you think are your priorities and where you're really deploying your resources and also your time. So if you take a look at someone's bank statement and their calendar, you can really tell about a lot about someone as regards to what's important to them.
Interesting, very interesting. And then you have to really align those two things.
You do. Once you figure that out, what's really important, you've got to spend your money there. You've got to put your money where your mouth is, and you've got to spend your time. If people are saying, "Hey, I want to get in shape in the new year," but you don't have any scheduled time to go to the gym, how are you going to possibly achieve that goal? So put your money where your mouth is, and you've got to put it on the calendar. If it's not set as an appointment on your calendar, it's not real.
Good point. All right. So what should your resolutions be?
So a lot of people, the popular resolutions are saving more money, spending less, and getting out of debt. And those resolutions are great, but what about making more money? So when you're talking about cutting back, when you're talking about cutting back and doing all these other things, money, that's sort of money controlling you. Well, what about taking control of your money and saying, listen, I'm just gonna make more this year? I mean, seriously, is there anyone that thinks that they're overpaid at their job? I think at least half the country feels like they're underpaid with what they're doing. And the fact is, you might be paid fairly for what your job currently is, but you may not be paid fairly for what you can actually do or the value you can bring to the table. So think about making more money in the new year as opposed to cutting back on everything.
And what about that saving goal? How do you do that?
Well, I'll tell you what, you've got to get very, very specific with this. And what we know is there's only 23% of Americans who feel like they can actually retire comfortably. So people aren't putting money away. If you're going to set a goal like this, get very specific. You want to save $100 a month, or you want to save $5 a day, or $10,000 toward a down payment on your new home, or whatever. Get very specific so that you can put things in place in order to reach that goal.
Great. And then I loved you wrote create a plan. A goal without a plan is a wish.
Yeah, I heard a famous football coach say that on a documentary. If you've got goals but you haven't put a plan, you're just wishing and hoping that it's going to magically happen one day. And success does not happen by accident. Put a plan in place and find a balance with what you can do today, so you can reminisce on what you did in the past. You can dream about what you can do in the future, but you can do something today and right now. So balance what you can do right now with your plans on how you're going to build on those successes in the future.
I love that. All right, so now we got some good resolutions, how do you actually implement them and make them work?
So to stay with the football analogy, I like to say that amateurs have goals and wishes, but pros actually have systems that they put in place. It's easy to sit back and look at someone and say, wow, that guy's or woman is just successful. It seems to just sort of happen for them. But what you don't know in the background is that they really have systems to try to help themselves be successful. So I created, the first thing is my 3-2-1 mantra system for the new year. So what I want you to do is come up with 3 words that's going to be your mantra for 2013. And I want you to get a sheet of paper and take that out. So Walt Disney actually had a mantra, and his was dare, dream, do. And get a little piece of paper, right? Yeah. And this number 2 is I want you to remind yourself.
Keep that with yourself?
I want you to remind yourself twice a day. So you may want to take the little sheet of paper and hang it up on your mirror, your bathroom mirror. So every morning you go in there, you're going to remind yourself about what your mantra is. And you may even want to take your mobile phone and set an alert that reminds you at 3 p.m. Dare, dream, do. This is going to be your mantra for the year, so that reminds you. And you know, the last thing is do one thing per day that's going to help you live out that mantra. And after 30 days, 60 days, you'll find out you've made a lot of progress in the new year.
And I love this idea of, you said don't break the chain, like an actual calendar, the visual.
Yes, somebody asked the famous comedian Jerry Seinfeld, you know, what it would take to become a top comedian. He said, number 1, you got to tell funnier jokes. And number 2, you got to write jokes every day. And so if you're going to set these goals, you want to chip away. We talked about Rome wasn't built in a day. Chip away at your goals a little bit each day. So what you want to do is get a calendar like this. You know, your January, 2013 calendar. And every day you make some progress towards your goal. You want to start to put a big red X on the calendar there. Hopefully you can see that. But what happens is, once you start to get on a roll, you're going to have a chain of X's that have showed you how you've been successful throughout the year, and you're not going to want to break that chain. This is a very visual and psychological way to keep yourself motivated. You don't want to break the chain, so you're going to keep those habits up in the new year.
Once you get it going, you don't want to stop. Okay, and lastly, get a trainer. I mean, you got to ask professionals, right?
Yeah, you know what? You don't have to think that you always have to do this alone or just in your head. If you're trying to lose weight or get healthy, go to the gym and find a personal trainer that can help you do that. And similarly, if you're trying to reach your financial goals, maybe talk to a financial advisor who can give you that advice, guidance, and most importantly, somebody to hold you accountable in the new year towards reaching your goals.
Always great advice, Rob. Happy New Year.
Same to you.
Rob Wilson, financial advisor at Blazer Capital Management, here with Money Monday every other Monday.